Hey, what's happening? Ustream, hello. About to go live, Build Destroy Radio, behind the scenes, getting set up. You know we do our thing every Tuesday from 7 to 9.
Hit that fan.
Music director Mark Bennett getting set up. We're trying to get the temperature right here because it's a little toasty, but it feels good. Always feels good when the Lemon Drop Lounge. And we always feel good bringing Build Destroy Radio to you, our beloved audience. Derek, don't you feel good about that?
I feel good, like Tony.
All right, Derek's getting the corner cleaned up and ready.
Yes, sir.
Mark's getting the music selections ready to go, and I'm getting ready to bring you another intense Build and Destroy Radio. Come right at you. Hang out with us. We're about to go live in a couple minutes. All right, y'all? Thank you.
I got broads in Atlanta.
Credit cards and scam. Did y'all see Rich Homie Quan mess up the big thing?
He told me. I didn't.
We're gonna talk about. Did you watch it?
You need to get mopped.
He needs to get mopped.
I just saw that. But
just because you put a Coogee on,
dude, like yeah,
doesn't mean you're ready.
Because you're lazy. That's
You're
not
lazy.
preparation.
That's what he said.
All you had
That's
to do
what
was
he
say
said.
you knew ahead of enough time. I know you're a young boy. You may not be knowing offhand, but you gotta put that thing on. Let me spit and show something.
I'm sure he knows them enough
He knows
to
better than
fudge
that.
through it. You know how you hit the joint that. Then you don't know a couple that. So he knew enough to practice for a week and have rehearsals and nail that joint and not disgrace.
That was lazy.
And not disgrace somebody. Not
That's
disgrace
that
somebody.
That is, man.
You disgrace somebody that's deceased. Come on.
You're a clown.
You're a couple big. You're in New York.
Yeah, you
know, it's a big stage.
Oh my goodness.
You put a Coogee sweater on, so you just wing.
Right,
Exactly. You act like they pulled you right off of one,
right.
two,
It was
one,
no
two,
right,
fifth.
right.
And just like, yo, you gotta do this big joint.
Right. No,
Come
you
on,
knew
man.
in advance. Get in the crib, listen to the big verse 10 times over, get familiar and kill it. That's all you had to do,
He
dude.
played himself. Played himself. Yeah, he played himself. You see that one?
No, I didn't a chance, dog. Right? You usually sing it when I'm at work, and I can't pull it up at work.
Some last night, it was like 11 o'clock.
Okay.
Two cities where the cops got shot in Louisiana and Minneapolis. Yeah.
Crystal's hit me up again too.
You got another comment you want to drop?
Yeah. I wish it could have been like that would have been so much better to have a ball. I'm like, what are you doing?
Oh, that's hot. I like that. So we're live. We got viewers up. We got viewers on right now, so we need to go. We need to get going.
That's cool. Let me give you what he said for. He says, me personally, I don't think it's responsible grouping all incidents together. Gotta look at them on a case-by-case basis.
We'll read that like it's a response to a question.
Also, media is feeding this disconnect with police versus blacks. They are hyping up the situation before knowing all information.
I agree.
This mentality of us versus them don't comply puts our young black men in dangerous situations. Just some of my personal opinions.
All right, so we'll do that. I'm gonna put a question out there, and that'll be the response.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna go on Facebook now. Build and destroy. If I can remember it, I friggin' login that I forget every week. What's the name's down, huh?
What?
No Audacity.
Oh, really?
I got one of my boys that lives up in New York. He called me and I was telling him about the show. He was like, "What's the joint called?" I was like, "Build and Destroy." He was like, "What you dropping 5% knowledge on your joint?" I was like, "Nah, man, it's not that deep. It's a carrots, one jewel." He was like, "I thought you was gonna start building on
Oh God.
yeah, he was like, God, he's into all that. Like,
Okay.
Oh God.
yeah, I was like, look,
Earth from
son.
the moon,
I was like,
baby.
yeah, I was like, no, you
Earth from
ain't
the
gonna.
boom, boom, baby.
Yeah, boom. Yeah, I'm not getting down
Oh,
like that.
God.
I was like, my man got it
Peace
from a
to
kid to
Mother
cat.
Earth,
He was
son.
like, all right. He was like, I thought you
Queen
were
of
gonna start
the
trying some
universe.
sun and moon type talk. or
Queen
whatever.
of the universe.
Yeah, I
son.
was like, nah, man.
Nah, baby.
Yeah, exactly.
Queen of
Exactly.
Mother Earth, baby. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, much better.
Gotta come in and rectify the situation.
Destroy.
You know what I'm saying?
As we build and destroy.
What's hot? Blue token?
Yeah, blue. Look at your man looking like TD Jakes. Why you boy looking like TD Jakes?
That's the rap version of TD.
Yeah,
Jakes gets done with the CDs and tapes. Like TD.
Yeah,
Marvin Sapp.
Creflo. You looking like Creflo Barber.
Come on, let's hit it.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Let's just wait and
I'm ready. All right, we're going live now. Mic 1, mic 3, go. Mic 2, go. 4, is it go? Good evening, good evening. Today is Tuesday, July the 12th, 2016. Sorry for my uncertainty, but one thing I am sure of, it's time to build and destroy. Let's go. Southwest, West Philadelphia, Philadelphia. Good evening. Build and Destroy Radio, live and direct in full color. Coming to you from the luscious Lemon Drop Lounge, located in the studios of WPEB 88.1 FM on your dial. We are also live on Ustream. Download the Ustream app on your mobile device. Go to ustream.tv. Either way, search Build and Destroy Radio, and you will see the team assembled for another raucous edition of West Philadelphia's #1 talked about radio program.
Talked about.
Yes, the Build and Destroy radio program. Yes, you don't need Wolf Blitzer. You don't need Bill O'Reilly. You don't need Soledad O'Brien. What do you need them for when you got Mark Bennett, Derek Azure, and David Hanna, the Build and Destroy team assembled live on your dial, about to give you hot buttered topics, pop culture, music, sports, and everything in between. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening, Governor.
Good evening,
Good
Derek.
evening, Governor.
What's happening, man?
Lounge, it's good to be back in the building again.
Are you ready to go, sir?
I'm ready to go, sir.
Mark Bennett, good evening, sir.
what's the deal?
Are you ready to make it happen like Captain Crunch?
Let's do this, son.
Let's do it. You know what, man? You know, we are a lighthearted band of brothers, but there's a weight upon all of us right now that we have to address. If you've been under a rock and you're just crawling out now, we'll get you up to speed real quick. More unadulterated shootings or controversial shootings by police of black males has the atmosphere so thick you could probably cut it with a knife. The tension is palpable in the streets, on the airwaves, in the communities. And you know what, gosh darn it, we gotta talk about it, man. We gotta talk about it. Serious things going on out here. 2 more controversial shootings, like I just said, happening in Louisiana and in Minneapolis. Sketchy circumstances, even sketchier responses from the police. are leaving many in the black community enraged. This feels like a powder keg, and a powder keg is pretty much blown up. The tipping point, the pot is steaming, and the end result, you're seeing cops being shot in Texas. Another incident happening in a courthouse in Michigan, I believe, where several bailiffs and officers of the court were injured by a suspect that was in cuffs and grabbed a gun and took hostages and started shooting. So I'm not justifying anything. That, of course, is heinous and totally wrong. But I think you're looking at a situation where steam is starting to come out from the black community and it's showing itself. The pressure is busting pipes in strange ways, and people are enraged. So what do we do? I don't know what to do because this is bad. It's bad. I mean, and you put this on top of Sandra Bland and the incident in New York and the other incidents down south that are going on. They go on and on over the past like 2 or 3 years, and you're starting to see the signs of stress starting to come out in the black community. People are scared. Parents are scared for their young men out in these streets. Young men themselves, us included, are afraid in these streets. You have the police that are afraid in these streets about the responses and the already very difficult jobs that they have in keeping peace and order in these streets. So, we've talked about this amongst our friends. We gathered last week in one of our favorite watering holes last week, Snoop, and you could feel the rage coming out in us, the anger and the frustration amongst our friends. So, it's reaching a level that is that's scary right now. I mean, I haven't felt this, Derek. I haven't felt this kind of pressure and stress in our community since the OJ verdict.
We say scary before. This is a new level of scary. It's like we've always trotted that term out. It's scary times and it's bad, but like when it starts getting to the grown men, and you're not a kid on the streets. You're not on the corner just walking around with a hoodie. You have a job. You got a 9 to 5. You got a mortgage, a family. But when it starts getting to, you start wondering about your family's well-being. That's when it really, truly becomes scary. It becomes, more than just. That's a word we trot out to say it's tenuous times. It's a little bit more than that.
Right. I mean, it's tense. I mean, to quote one of our favorite groups, De La Soul, stakes is high right now, man.
Stakes is high, definitely.
Stakes is high, brother. I relate a story that you guys know. I got pulled over on my way to do the show a week or 2 ago, and officer walked up to me, and I hadn't done anything. I didn't know what I was doing, but I had a damaged mirror, rear view mirror, and he was coming just to tell me like, "Yo, you need to get that fixed because if you get stopped again, that's a $300 ticket."
Right.
But I looked on my other side, and I saw the other officer coming on the other side. She had her hand on her, on her waist. Walking cautiously, like I guess that's procedure, whatever. But once they drove away, like he gave me a quick little warning. He had to leave because they got a serious call. He was like, I wasn't gonna give you a ticket, but I gotta roll. I ain't got time to rap to you because we got a call, gotta go. He jetted. So I was sitting there before I pulled off. I was like, was I nervous? Did I get a little tenser than normal?
Of course you did.
Yeah.
It's a different climate, but the climate has changed going, and I've been hearing this narrative of sides. It really shouldn't be sides that we're choosing, the people or the police, because the police are people, and they're people of the community that they serve. You can't be a New York cop if you live in Philly, catch a train down every morning and service that community.
You're in that community.
You have to be from that community. So it's tense on both, I'll say, sides of the badge. I don't know. They're tense. And I believe you got stopped on 52nd Street?
I got stopped on 54th, right before I got to 52nd.
Same neighborhood. If I was a cop on 54th Street and I pulled somebody over, I would have my gun. I would be ready.
Sure.
Right.
I mean, because, and guess what? I don't know if she or that officer was like that day one,
Right.
but I believe over the years of being on the job, seeing her compadres or her fellow officers take heed or whatever. Listen, man, my narrative is a little bit different than most people's. But I think everybody's in a hard spot, man. Everybody's in a hard spot.
It's a very difficult
It's
situation.
a hard spot, and it's there's some things that you can see that are so wrong on and I hate to keep saying it, but on both sides. When you get to the point where you boil over and you just sitting on the top of a building shooting into a crowd of cops, like that's lawlessness, like at its highest form.
There's no defense for that.
There's no defense,
There's
for
no
that.
defense for that.
No, it is not. But
Then
you're talking about a segment of the population where these people don't need much to push them to the edge to begin with. So they're looking for any excuse.
Yeah,
But I mean, you're talking about mentally unstable people,
Yeah,
in instances like that.
that's what I was going to say.
And yeah, so I mean, but one of the things, like I'm glued to the TV just like everybody else, and I'm watching CNN, I'm seeing different reports, that and the other, and I don't know about y'all, but I really don't want to get into a concerted debate about the individual things. I think it's much bigger than that. The cat is out the bag at this point, and I think what we're talking about right now is an overall problem with how law enforcement is viewing our community. More importantly, more specifically, I should say, our black men. Because we're a target right now. We've always felt like we're the PE symbol with the crosshairs on us to begin with. But now it's becoming an epidemic level, and you're starting to see the frustration coming out with not one, not two, not three. It's going on and on. I don't want to sound like LeBron making championship counts, talking about black lives, getting killed, but that's where we're at, and it's ridiculous at this point. So I don't want to get into a thing about was this one justified, was this one not justified. Yo, it's crazy right now. It's too big. It's too big right now to get into individual scenarios.
I don't even want to really get on sides. I don't want to get into. I'm championing this. I'm not saying sides.
Right.
I'm saying, but I don't want to champion Black Lives Movement over the cops, dude. Black Lives Movement. I don't get me in my soapbox. Don't get me on my levels talking about my thoughts and feelings about the overall Black Lives.
We're gonna get into that too. So
and
I'm gonna transition
and the intricacies of it and the logistics of what this person thinks, because there's actually two different factions within Black Lives Movement.
Right.
You got those who are claiming Black Lives Movements under the context of social uprising and causing mayhem. And then you got those who are in the Black Lives Movement who want to enact positive change. And the whole thing is getting painted with one broad stroke of just, people aren't able to discern who's who. When you say Black Lives Movement, you can't qualify and say, oh, I'm on the good side or I'm on the bad side. You're either with the Black Lives Movement or you're not. Which is why I don't want to necessarily say that I support the Black Lives Movement. I support certain issues of it, but I'm a police supporter. I support the police. You know what I mean? They got a hard job. I'm pro-police.
Exactly.
That doesn't mean I think they're they're infallible or they're not judged like David said. Attacks on the black community right now. It's an issue. Police presence in the black community is an issue, and the way they perceive us.
Right.
That's the bigger issue.
But here's when you go large scale, like David said, let's not go case by case. Okay. When you don't go case by case, then you're saying law enforcement, like you just said, and us, non-law enforcement, which is like combatives, two combative forces. And listen, that's not it.
But it doesn't necessarily have to be those.
But when you say how law enforcement views us,
right?
Okay. That is a broad painted stroke. So you're saying every cop, or are you just saying every white cop?
I'm merely really just speaking in the backdrop of the way things are right now.
Yeah,
the
tapestry of the moment.
That's all I'm speaking in terms of the scenario in which we're operating. But on a regular everyday scale, this is still these guys' jobs.
Of course.
And unfortunately, not every scenario in which a black person gets shot is a cop being trigger happy or a cop acting out of pocket. Sometimes people need to get shot.
Yes.
That's why they carry guns. That's why they're there to protect people. Sometimes brothers need to get shot.
Right.
And I don't mean, far be it, I don't want people to look at that statement and say, Edge, what is he talking about? There are incidents, there are times when somebody has to pull a weapon.
Of the law,
Like
regardless of color. For us to advance as people, somewhere down the line, as Martin Luther King said, black boys and two little black boys are gonna be able to sit and play. And somewhere down the line, color has to be stripped, and it has to be about the person. Which has to.
Yeah, no, that's
or you're never going to get past
that. And that's what's going to be the solution. It's got to be about the person.
Right.
So police departments need to do a better job of getting people who are capable of being cops. Because ultimately, it's about respect. You have to do your job. So if I have to put a cap in you and that entails me doing my job, then that's what it's got to be. But I can't come to you with a predisposed notion that I may have to shoot you.
Oh yeah.
Even if you're just a businessman driving home, but like David says, when you come up there with your hand on your weapon, I know that's part of the procedure, but your goal should be customer service.
Right.
Your goal is to
diffuse
because in a lot of these issues which the guys were killed, you can't tell me these bullets could have been diffused without killing somebody, without using deadly force. These issues could have been resolved.
And let's talk about that. That's
Amadou Diallo?
Yeah. You don't want to go back to 37 times.
No, what is that?
And the other boy in New York.
That's not customer service.
And this is the problem. And this is what, the fiery speech that Jesse Williams gave during the BET Awards that drew so much conversation and confrontation was based upon. One of the things that was the paramount of his speech was that, the lack of de-escalation skills that police have displayed across the country when you're talking about confrontations with people of color. He was like, you don't see that problem in many instances when they're dealing with white people.
Absolutely.
They're able to de-escalate without something happening. Doesn't happen every time.
It's respect, sir.
It's respect.
Sir, I'm just going to run your license. You pull a
when you deal with a black person, when you deal
with a different situation.
Yeah, when you deal with a person of color, all of a sudden it's like they push the panic button, and it's like at a code name, code level orange or red.
Already.
They even get out. Do I have to bring up Sandra Bland
before they even get out the car?
Sandra Bland simply she challenged the officer because she was upset she got pulled over for no more than I think it was a wrong turn or she ran a yellow or not yielding or something. What was it?
She did not signal her lane change.
The guy pulled her over. I watched the thing last night where I saw that footage. And the guy was like, he pulled her out the car and said, I will blow you away. To a black woman.
Right. To a woman.
A woman, and then a black woman on top of it. Simply because she challenged him. Since when is challenging someone a crime? We talk about, I've been watching a lot of things in preparing for tonight's show. I've watched a lot of interviews, and I got segues and stuff in my head where I want to take this. The first place I want to take is what you were saying about the whole de-escalation thing and the viewpoint like us against them. It shouldn't be that, but that's what it's getting to, and that's scary. It should not be that. But when you have representatives of law enforcement coming on national TV and just spewing rhetoric and minimizing what's going on, you're making it that way.
Not admitting any wrong.
Yeah, they're not admitting any wrong.
Any possible.
They're throwing out stats. They're throwing out stats that make no sense. There was a retired police officer. I watched an interview with it was himself and Mark Lamont.
Oh, that was crazy.
Did you see that?
Oh man,
on CNN.
This guy throwing out ridiculous stats.
Ridiculous stats that are totally unbiased. Right. 97% of people in jail are black. 92% of such and such that happen at arrests are black.
Blacks are predisposition for
Mark
violence.
Lamont Hill was looking at this guy like, are you kidding me?
Did you really just say blacks are predisposition to violence?
Right, that's what he basically was trying to say.
He was like, please say you didn't just say that.
Yes, he was begging the guy. He was like, I'm gonna throw you a lifeline. He was like, I'm gonna gonna throw you a lifeline, and I'm gonna say, I know you didn't just say that blacks are like Mark Lamont Hill. Like they got into a shouting match. He was literally yelling. He was like, I know you didn't just say. Like he was getting red. He was like, pat, pat, pat. I know you didn't just. And the guy wouldn't yell. I was like, you got. And the moderator had to like play referee and like break it up. But I was sitting there like in front of my computer.
He wouldn't even
like,
back down there. He wouldn't even clean that up.
This dude,
He rode with it to the end.
This is not the first time this guy, like him and Mark Lamont Hill have been sparring on CNN for the better part of like the last 2 years. And this guy continually tries to douse the flames and stoke it even higher. For the things that we're talking about, us versus them, police versus them. It's all on black people. It's such and such. Now, behind that, I see an interview, or interview with Rudy Giuliani, the former mayor of New York City, where he basically states that black kids have a 99% chance of killing each other. So you don't need to worry about the police.
Where do you get those stats?
You need to more from the Klan guide to racial relations. So they went to page 32, section byline B, and this is what Rudy Giuliani said. Former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani said last Sunday that black children have a 99% chance of killing each other, as they shouldn't worry so much about police brutality.
Unbelievable.
He also dismissed the Black Lives Matter movement, the group and the phrase itself, as inherently racist and anti-American, and accused the movement of calling for the murder of police officers. Appearing on the CBS show Face the Nation on Sunday, Giuliani had little to say about the deadly police shootings that have sparked the Black Lives Matter movement and nationwide protests, including the one in Dallas that was ambushed by a cop killer. If you want to deal with this on the black side, you've got to teach your children to be respectful to police. And you've got to teach your children that the real danger to them is not the police, Giuliani said. The real danger to them is 99 out of 100 times is other black kids who are going to kill them, the Republican ex-mayor added, citing a statistic never shown in any type of research.
That's senility.
And we don't.
I think he's starting to get that.
Senility on national TV.
I think Alzheimer's is setting in.
Senility on national TV.
You say something like that. I used to halfway respect Giuliani. I used to halfway respect.
Here's the problem with that, though.
Mm-hmm.
We as a people, and the stats will probably support him because
99% Snoop.
I mean that could be
but
over.
Be rational. Don't.
Yeah. No, you're right. Well, here's the thing. How many cop killings, white cops in Philadelphia have killed a black person?
Well, I don't know.
This year.
I'm not like that. I'm not going to cite stats I don't know.
All right, okay.
I'm not going to be an ass.
We haven't heard of one, right? This year. In the 7 months that we've existed in this year,
right.
We haven't heard of one. You guys just heard about the 3 guys that got shot last night on West Virginia.
That's what I was going to say at the basketball thing. Yeah.
By another black cop.
So that wasn't a black cop. That was black kid shot another black kid, didn't he? At the basketball league? Right. Okay.
That's what I'm saying. We try our best to support it. It's one of the things that in defense of it is also just like the priests. When priests molest everybody,
right?
That's not true.
All Catholic priests are perverts.
There are millions of priests throughout the world, and you get 10 cases a year.
And the Catholic faith is taking a tremendous
hit for it, right?
Tremendous
and you're getting the same thing now with police.
Mm-hmm.
So
same kind of hit.
When you see a uniform, it causes something in you now as a black person, and
the feeling I felt when I got pulled over.
Yeah, and it's almost, if a dog can sense something, so can a person.
Right, exactly.
And if that person,
it's called intuition.
This is a scenario. I had a talk yesterday with a friend to the room that's in law enforcement, trying to get some perspective.
Well, hold on to that. Because I'm going to get to it. Because since you're there,
it's on that. It's right. Not. I'm not taking it from.
Let's build on this before you, and then I'll let you get into that, Snoop. We put a question out on social media. This is a good time to pause because we want your responses to this. Those that are watching, you can get at us 2 ways. You can give us a call WPEB hotline is open for business. Our number is 215-472-0882. Give us a call. We also are available through social media. Hit Snoop Mark Bennett on his Facebook page. You can go to the Build and Destroy.
You can text us all direct.
You can text us
If
directly if you have our number.
Text direct.
If you do not, and you see the question,
Go
the
on
question
Facebook.
that was just put out there, you can go on Facebook and respond to any one of our Facebook pages. And the question that was the first question that we put out for the evening. This is our first Build and Destroy question for the night. We want to speak. We're talking about law enforcement and how they view black men in the communities. What are your thoughts on how the perception of the black male in the eyes of the police right now? What are you thinking about that? So I'll let you go from there.
One of the commentaries I heard in talking with our quote unquote law enforcement consultant.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a Caucasian from South Philly, you went to South Philly High, say just hypothetically, nothing against Italians, you're Italian, you're Irish, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You went to South Philly High.
You're a person.
You're a person. You had some race relations
A human being.
in high school and middle school with the other race. Your family's been in law enforcement from the Rizzo years, past the Rizzo years, 3-4 generations of law enforcement. They come home, they tell you these stories. You're the legacy, you're the next generation law enforcement. You go into that law enforcement and they have you riding up and down 52nd and 52nd Street. And you have a preconceived notion of a race of people.
Already. Preconceived notion. Right?
And then you spend 5, 6, 7, 8 years on the job. And in the community that you're assigned to serve and protect and provide customer service, you are, you know, how you see those images of back in the day, the cops walking the beat, swinging the baton, whistling, stopping, you know, wiping the little kid's ice cream off his face, getting the cat out the tree. That doesn't exist anymore. Now you're the scum of the earth. When you come around and you say, hey guys, you know, guys standing on the corner, which I've done, was not a thug, was not on the corner to snatch nobody's pocketbook. It was just a convenient spot to meet. Cop comes along, what you guys doing? Then why you know what I mean? Why you always busting that? So you build this thing up in you, and you get to the point where there's a firearm involved, and you done responded for the past 3 months to, you know, the weather change, all these shootings, and you are called to a situation where there's a firearm. It's not. It's just I don't know. I don't know how.
But you know what, Snoop?
No, and I'm not justifying. I'm just giving the other
But
side.
you know,
I
but
see
here's
what
the
you're
thing. But that's a great scenario that you're playing out. But the thing is,
And guess what?
In reality,
and before that, see, I think we're like in the mental right now that this is every call, every night, every day, every 5 seconds.
Not at all.
I mean, we've discussed this in the year that we've been doing the show.
Yeah, we've been
discussed
talking
it
about this
5, 6 times.
At least.
Probably.
At least.
I mean, mass shootings and this, at least a dozen times between the two, maybe.
But you know what? Let me just. Derek's gonna jump in. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you, my brother. You know, I have another example. I have a friend that works for public transportation. Just speaking about the mindset that you're talking about from a police perspective, because I think that's what you're trying to paint.
Public transportation.
Yeah, he works for that, and he told me this is a buddy of mine. He used to be on the 38 route, which rides through the bottom. Those that don't know, that's the bottom of West Philly.
Right.
A very impoverished, challenged area, and he had to get off of that route because he told me he had to switch from that route to the 44, more subtle route, rise into the better area of the city.
Right.
He had to get off the
he moved up
38.
like the Jeffersons.
Yeah, he made the Jefferson's move with septic. Because he said riding through there, looking at that every day, he stopped seeing human beings. He just started seeing, he just started seeing objects.
Yeah.
And he started treating them like that. Because he just got so overwhelmed with his, with the environment he was seeing. It desensitized him to his constituency. So his level of customer
But
service
you know what, David? That
dropped tremendously.
That speaks
so
to my
if
point.
you're like that as
That's
a bus
exactly-
driver,
that's
imagine
perfect.
how a police officer
Dude.
is with a gun on
That's
his
a
hip.
segue to exactly what I was going to say. I was going to say that what Snoop spoke about the inherited racism and telling your
Right.
kids that I got to go deal with these black whatever.
Right.
That's in every field of human
Every
endeavor.
field.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
teachers.
definitely.
That's
Social
your
workers.
boss. That's your
Social
social
workers.
and they have to also put on a
You're
mask.
challenged.
It's just that
Challenging
police
jobs.
have it the worst because they don't just have to work for these people or write up or hand you out assignments or grade
Right,
papers
right.
or
Or
oversee
take
your
your
calls
fare and drive
or
you
check
for
your
5
call
minutes. Right.
quality
Right.
and see how you did for customer service.
Right.
They got to go ahead and police your neighborhoods, deal with your issues, deal with your family drama, and at the same time keep their head about it
And deal with their
remain
own
impartial.
all the above you
So,
just said.
dude, the job,
Right.
people need to
It's
understand
a
their
hard
job is
job.
insane.
It's
a
And
tough
that's why
job.
I have this ultimate respect. But at the same time, maybe that needs to be taken into consideration when you're hiring these people. A psychological evaluation only going to do so much.
Right.
But at the same time, but you got to
Well-
make it clear to these people, customer service is key. It's all it takes
It
is
is.
an understanding of what you're getting into.
And they
It's not
just raised. They just raised. The answer to almost everything is a higher level of education.
that helps. Dave.
So they
I'm sorry,
raised
it
the
really
level.
does. It does.
They don't take high school graduates anymore. They were taking, I think, high school graduates. And,
But then they changed it too.
but
They
that's
brought
what
it
I'm
up
saying.
and
They
changed
brought
it back
over the
down.
last 4 months or so.
Right.
They just raised the level. So you have to have
Yeah, like a cadet program or something.
something.
I'm not
They
sure.
added something to it, and they raised the level of competency before you can even get into the academy.
Good, good.
Like you have to have, I think, 2 or 3 years of college at least, or
Oh,
I don't know if you have to have a degree.
No,
I
you
think,
don't- you don't-
But I
you
think
don't-
you have to
you
have
don't-
at least
you
you have to have at least an associate's.
Right. No, you don't get the degree. You have to have some college.
I thought
Some
it was
college,
2 years. I
some
thought it was
college.
2
Yeah,
years.
but you
So
got
Philadelphia,
some
for
college.
for
Just-
Philadelphia.
Yeah, Philadelphia.
That just happened over the last 3 or 4 months. But
I don't
again,
mind that. I don't mind
no,
that.
it
I
should.
don't-
But
I don't mind
again,
that.
like I
don't mind
said, it's
that.
about being
I don't mind
the
it
more
at all.
educated you
Yeah,
are,
man.
the better
Yeah,
decisions you'll be
yeah,
able to
you
make
know,
in
and
difficult
And
situations.
life experiences.
I'm
Right.
sorry.
Because
yes.
the scenario I
College,
just
exactly.
gave is just it's a cycle. And like you said, you can come home as a black man and be like, I gotta go deal with these crackers every
Right,
day.
exactly.
Then they all they eat this shepherd's pie and
Hey, I
then
like shepherd's
you
pie.
can put that of course
I
you
like
can put
shepherd's
that you can put that on your kids.
Right.
And
You
then
go either way. You're
lo
right.
and behold, your
You're right.
child becomes a cop and he's in Kensington.
It's a huge
But that's-
person. It's a
Yeah.
huge. It's a huge
It's a-
humanistic issue. They always say at the base of it, and the protesters
Keyword
the
human.
protesters
Keyword
that
human.
make sense always put the onus on us too. We got to do
Right.
better by our children, dude.
Right.
We do. And my
We
thing
do.
is, if Giuliani would have came with some intelligence
Something right.
and respect,
Uh,
he would have made some sense.
and that's what I was gonna
Because
go
he-
back to.
Because you're right.
Back
We
to-
do have to teach your children respect.
Back to
Yes.
that ridiculousness that
Yeah.
And he
Giuliani
became correct,
and the
dude.
other
Instead
gentleman.
of come like a clown.
Yeah, back to
now
that
you're a
ridiculous.
nut. You get
That
dismissed.
statement. He stood on
Now you're
national.
dismissed,
This
dog.
asshole stood on national
Woo.
TV and made those comments. I was enraged when he said that, and he stood there with a straight face. Okay, there's a hinge. We understand there's some issues in our community with making sure to respect the police, but the problem is not just that, and you're just gonna brush under the table the behavior of these officers. So you're telling me
some attitude
yeah,
like you got
let's
this
talk
all-
about
it's 99, so they're
stats.
gonna kill
Let's
each
talk
other.
about stats. 99%. We know that's ridiculous. I'll give you a real fact. Studies show different. I forget what council or organization did this, but real studies show that the higher percentage of race, which is more prone to shoot an officer, are white people. The percentages show this. That's a real stat, not any 99%. So,
just shows
Giuliani,
your
it's
racism. It
senile.
just shows your
Him and the
racism.
other gentleman, and then the
Yeah.
other thing I saw, I saw the same woman that was in a discussion with Mark Lamont Hill and the consultant from New York. The other guy was throwing all this racist rhetoric out there with these crap numbers and everything. One of the things she said, she's a conflict resolution specialist, and she said she gives street level training all the time. And she said when you are in a confrontation with the police, or the main objective that they teach, number one, paramount, when you get stopped by the police, is to end the situation, the confrontation, or the engagement as quickly as possible. So you don't want any long, prolonged dialogue, drawn out, back and forth, because that has a chance to get things escalated. What you want to do is comply and get the hell out of there.
Right.
That's what you want to do. End it as quickly as possible. Sorry, officer. Didn't mean to do
That's
that.
all, man. That's
You
all
want me to
it
take it?
takes,
Give me the
dog.
ticket.
all.
Because I'm saying, when
End
you
it.
start
End
getting,
it.
you know, all this, you know, defensive,
End
I'm
it.
saying, you know, anytime, and then cops get defensive,
Yes.
and it goes back and forth,
Well-
and it's a banner. Then I put my under my gun. Why
Right.
you got to do that? What about my right?
Exactly.
That's what we
That's
got to
what
stop
I'm-
doing, man.
Well, and
And
You're
sometimes-
opening the
and
door.
sometimes-
You're opening
and
the
then-
door for trouble.
There was no.
Get out of
What
here.
sickened me about the protests is those that when the cops were trying to assist the protesters, and you had.
protest are you talking
the Black
about?
Lives
Here?
Matter through Philadelphia.
Here?
Through
On
Philadelphia,
Broad
it was on
Street.
Fox the other night.
Got you.
You had, you know, the cops escorting them through Broad Street or through the area where they were walking down to Penn's Landing, and you had participants of the crowd goading the cops, yelling at the cops,
Yeah.
saying all kinds
And
of
the cops were just
inflammatory.
standing
They were standing there. That's
But-
not intelligent.
But see, this is
that's
what
not intelligent,
but
man.
Derek,
That's a clown movie.
That's a perfect point. This is what I'm saying. It's and my personal beliefs is that it's strictly through the media. When I talk
They're egging
when
a lot
I
of this
talk
on.
to,
Yes.
not saw interview, not listen, read up newspaper or anything. When I talk to someone that is actively working in law enforcement, I got a whole different perspective of it.
I ain't saying it's a
no,
lot.
no,
It's
no,
probably
I
a
know,
small
no,
majority, to be
no.
honest.
But what I'm
You're
saying
probably right.
is,
The media wants to make it
oh,
look
the
like
media,
it's like
the
that
media
way.
is killing
I
it.
know that.
But what
I
I'm
know
saying
that.
is, it's festering a thing that when you see the uniform, I had to go to the courthouse today. When I went in the courthouse and walked through the joint, I beat. And the boy was like, you gotta step over there. And I was like, oh snap, it's about to go down. And I had my belt, I just had a belt on. Like, you know what I'm saying? But it's the media, man, it ingrains such small
The media,
things in your
and we
brain.
talked about
When-
this last
anytime
night.
you see a crime, and if you watch 100 news stories about a crime or a killing, and you watch out of that 100, however many is black, they're gonna find a picture.
Of course.
And it's the craziest picture.
Listen,
It's
we
ridiculous,
take this
man.
back to the days when we were going to Virginia Beach.
Yeah.
I saw it first time. When there was all the unrest and racial tension down at Virginia Beach in the years that we were going down there. I remember specifically seeing ABC News scouring through the crowd looking for black youth to talk to get their their impressions and their viewpoints on. You were right next to me on what was going on in Virginia Beach and the riots and the storefront stuff going on, this, that, and the other. So, they would go and talk to, there was a group, I think, of Kappas or Alphas, a Greek life people, gathered. They got their comment and they're speaking intelligently. They're talking about, they're upset and the racism they've seen in Virginia Beach and blah, blah, blah. In the middle of the interview, this bull walks by looking like got the big Flavor Flav clock on, a Gucci hat turned to the side, like, yeah, boy, like, it's all whitey dog. They're like, they literally left the group and went to him.
Right.
And he made national TV.
Of course.
I was like, whoa,
course.
that's what they look for. And that's what's going on right now, like you just said, Mark.
I
In
mean,
the situation, not that they're sensationalizing anything,
Yeah.
but they're stoking the flames
Yeah.
by going to these stores.
For ratings.
For ratings. That's all it's about. And ratings equal money. And what brings money? Controversy brings viewers. Viewers bring sponsorship. Sponsorship brings money.
Yeah.
That's all that's about. So for everybody out there, you must take a grain of salt when you're looking at a lot of these reports and learn to discern sensationalism or an attempt at trying to egg things on versus true news reporting. It's a difficult thing to see because everybody's not savvy like that when they're looking at media. But you have to learn what the media is trying to do and what they're going to focus on with laser precision to get the ratings. They're going to keep egging this on. There's white people that have been shot in this interval. Me and you talked about it, Snoop.
Yes.
unarmed white people unprovoked shot by another white officer. It's a story, and they move on. Meanwhile, back to Black Lives, another protest, another such and such. The sensationalism is crazy.
Back to Black Lives Matter, though.
Let's talk about it.
Is it just Black Lives Matter when a cop shoots somebody? Those same protesters about Black Lives Matter should have been in West Philly this morning.
Absolutely.
After this 15-year-old kid got shot in the face from playing basketball.
At the end of the day, I'm going to say that's build and destroy statement. That's where
Black Lives Matter should have been.
What do you want to put out?
We don't stand by the words and expressions and the viewpoints. No. That's our viewpoint.
I'm going to put that on social media right now. Do Black Lives really
Black
matter?
Lives Matter, and you about marching for civil unrest. Then be fair. The same way we want to take the same way we want to take Sharpton and those people.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
We take our own selves.
Don't fuel somebody like Giuliani's statement.
Exactly.
Because when he sat as mayor and he had the police come from Brooklyn and Harlem and all these places, and there was a black man down, I would venture to say that half to 75% of the time it was another black man. I don't think it was a white dude shooting a black dude.
But we got to start forcing the narrative.
It wasn't 99%. It probably wasn't 99%.
But we just talked about sensationalism. Sensationalism works the other way around too. So
Absolutely,
like you just said, where was Black Lives when that boy got killed? Over winning a summer league basketball game. Show up for that.
And have the media show that.
But
here, Black Lives Matter are protesting. In the hood.
But
Show that.
Here's the trick thing of that. A lot of those Black Lives Matter movements, and again, shout out to Uncle Knowledge, Barry Gordon, who hosts the roundtable tomorrow night at the same time we're on Wednesday. He hit me to the fact that when you see a lot of those protests, people showcasing the Black Lives Matter movement and everything going on, a lot of those people are paid to be there. They're like extras on the set of a show. Wow. You know what I mean? He was like, if you pay attention, like what happened in Ferguson and such and such, you'll see the same people. Right. A lot of those people travel.
Y'all ain't got airfare money to be driving and going to Minnesota, back to Dallas, to Baton Rouge, to Philly. You ain't got cheddar like
and
that.
You know what?
How you get that?
Black lives do matter. But they don't just matter when CNN and Fox News is on. They matter when that boy you just talked about got killed for nothing. Black Lives Matter should have been there trying to force the narrative and force a discussion for all of us to treat each other better so we don't have to have interventions from the police and get caught in confrontation.
Exactly.
What about the
charity starts at home.
What about the black grad student that got killed in Yale a couple of years ago? Just getting in his car, getting boarded.
Exactly.
His grad student with a family, getting murdered in the street in cold blood. Where's Black Lives Matter?
Here's the thing about
somebody's going to be a positive to the black community.
Here's the thing about same race crime. Especially in the Upper Eastern Corridor, maybe outside of New York. I mean, some spots in New York are very diverse. Some spots are very
New York is a true melting pot.
But some are segregated. Most of the time, you live with your people. You're people of your same color. So you're gonna have, if you look at the Asian community, their crime is, maybe Asian on Asian, you know what I mean? Or black on black, Hispanic on Hispanic, because that's who you live with. And you do have, for instance, where I live, it's probably 50-50, but less than not even a half a mile away, it's all black. So
let's just look at where we broadcast from. This is one of the biggest melting pots.
That half a mile to maybe break into a better home or maybe steal a better car, because they think it's and then what you'll get is, we caught him. It was a black guy who came into the quote unquote white neighborhood and broke into your house or stole your car.
Let's do a station ID real quick, David. We're at WPEB. This is Build and Destroy Radio. 88.1 on your FM dial, live from Ustream, broadcasting from the Lemon Drop Lounge.
That's right. We're talking about the incidents that have occurred over the last week or so, the continued incidents that have been coming over the last couple of years or so. And one thing that I think is not getting a lot of shine or a lot of publicity about who is really getting caught, sold in the middle of this of tension and everything. And when I talk about caught in the middle, I'm talking about the officer of color.
Yeah.
This is something we brought up, Stu, and I wanted to make sure I touched on this.
Please.
Is that, black officers and officers of color are getting put in a very precarious position right now. We talked about choosing sides. It shouldn't have to come to that, but it's getting to that because of the tensions that's going on. And like I said, it's a rope, it's a tug of war going on. In the middle of that tug of war are officers of color.
Right.
Where do they stand? How do they do this? How should they view this situation? And how do they carry themselves? And how are they viewed in our community?
And how they view within their own department.
In their own department.
God
because
they
part of the problem,
a lot of the corruption that's
right?
going on.
Exactly. The blue code is at the essence of a lot of these problems with these incidents is the quote unquote blue code that's going on. These officers see a lot of things that go on. They know it's wrong, but because of that blue code that they carry, they don't say anything. Again, caught in the middle. So what do you do?
Here's immediately where my mind went when we talked about that yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
You're a cop on the Dallas Police Department, a black cop. You're coming to the protest because black men have been, you feel as though, well, the protesters feel as though black men have been killed unjustly by people of your ilk. You're there with your white friend, your partner, your boy, and your same thing, and he gets shot. So you're on the job one day and you gotta go home to your black wife, your black kids, with blood on your splattered blood from your homie, who you don't see as black or white, you see him as blue. Cause that's O'Reilly or whoever, and that's your boy. Y'all went and y'all had bruised.
You're drawing a picture of what happened in Texas.
And y'all went through the academy together. Whatever, he used to be your partner, and now he's not. Whatever, he was a butthole. He was cool, or he was an a-hole. But now you're like so fried. Because on one hand, your own people are looking at you crazy because you're a cop.
Tough position.
Then you're looking at them crazy because, well, my co-worker just got shot right in front of me, and the bullets was flying right by my. Like, that's gotta be crazy.
Well,
man.
we
gotta
have
be crazy.
You got a comment from
our consultant.
we all have friends again that are in law enforcement. Good people, like most police law enforcement people are.
Yes.
And you have a comment you want to read on the air.
Well, we got some comments, and they're anonymous, but they are from active law enforcement officials.
Mm-hmm.
And it's three separate things. The one thing, and I don't know if you want to address them one by one, or you just... First one says, personally, I don't think it's responsible grouping all incidents together. You have to look at them on a case-by-case basis.
Mm-hmm.
Now, and I'll give a little behind the scenes. When I did talk,
I
did talk, the two incidents of recent developments, Louisiana and Minneapolis.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at both of them, the view was that the Minneapolis, from the law enforcement eye test off of the bat without all the facts, looked to be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
The other one didn't look as wrong, and that was, again, like I said, without the facts, and that was just at a glance from knowing what's going on, how you do things, blah blah blah, and that was that perspective. So I mean, we didn't really go into case by case and what was what, but that was that perspective. You guys want to comment on that, or just read the next one?
Read the next one.
Yeah, read the next one.
Also, media is feeding this disconnect with police versus blacks. They are hyping up the situations before knowing all the information.
It's fair.
That's
and
fair.
I-
What that
we-
speaks to what we
Yeah,
were
we
just
just-
talking
the media
about
is- the
in
media
regards to
is-
the media feeding the monster,
Right.
which the media tends to do
Definitely.
with situations that are highly volatile because again they know what brings in ratings.
Mhm.
So we're talking about that. Two good comments. I think they
One
speak
more.
for themselves. You got one more? Go with it. Go with it.
This mentality of us versus them.
This is from another law enforcement.
Yeah, don't comply puts our young black men in dangerous situations.
Mm-hmm.
So that goes back to what we spoke about a little earlier, where the cop comes and all of a sudden you get an attitude and you put
You wanna
yourself
get
in a bad
belligerent.
situation.
Right.
Well, what you got your hand on your gun? Well, what would you stop? You just busting my chops because I'm black. The whole thing, and it's like,
Can't do that. Can't do
you
that.
know, I mean, David, I laid it out yesterday what I thought to you, and I was like, look, and Derek kind of echoed the sentiment today that there's people on every job.
Mm-hmm.
There's a dude behind the counter at McDonald's that's just a butt. And these cops, you have butts, but you also have cops that leave home and they got crazy wives. Or they have great wives and their wives got on their nerves.
They have lives just like we do.
They got
and
kids.
lives are very complex.
And we all have kids.
Yeah, we don't need to
and
get
we
into
know-
the full thing, but they
Yeah.
got difficult lives just like you do, just like Derek does, just
But
like I
think-
do.
I mean,
But the difference is they have something that can
they-
end someone's
they-
life on their hip.
Exactly.
So it
Which,
takes things to
which
another level.
goes back to the point of
Mhm.
training. I mean, if you want to get to solutions,
Yes,
one of the
yes.
solutions is this dude has a gun.
Mm-hmm.
He has a taser. He has
Mhm.
mace, and he has a billy club.
Mm-hmm.
He might have a shotgun in the car, and he may have a assault rifle that he can call 20 more other dudes.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to mess with this person. If you didn't do anything, you don't have anything to worry about.
Right.
If you did something, don't make it worse.
Don't make
if
it
you
worse.
if you didn't signal when you changed lane, which is the dumbest thing in the world,
Mhm.
to whatever, take the ticket and go about your life.
Yeah.
Like
Again, with the talk we just had
It's only a
about
ticket. I mean,
Yeah.
my
about
goodness.
street knowledge and street education when dealing with these kind of conversations, your main focus again to tell our audience and anybody else that's watching or listening, whatever, is to end that situation and bring that confrontation to a close as quickly as possible and move on with your life. Keyword life, So, but the main thing, everything we talked about tonight so far, the main thing that's got me peeved more than anything else is the irresponsible level of commentary that we're hearing on a national level. As we often talk about the power that we have with these mics at this little community station. You're going to sit on CNN or you're going to sit on Fox News and just spew racist rhetoric that has no bias or
No
basis,
rhyme or reason,
no
just-
rhyme or reason, just to substantiate your point. And
Instead of using your intelligence
Right.
to engage in a proper discourse with
Right.
people on the panel
Right.
who want that,
yeah, you're going
who are
to
looking for that, but
that's the gentleman that was
you,
on with Mark Lamont Hill.
It's sick.
That's Rudy
Oh,
Giuliani,
I couldn't
and the
shit
other
on
person that we had to throw under the bus in this instance is a friend that I think is a friend to my room. I don't know if he's a friend of yours, but we're talking about Wendy Williams. She threw out some irresponsible comments on her program, and I want to discuss that. When she spoke about, she was making a direct response to Jesse Williams' speech again during the BET Awards, where she basically took offense to HBCUs.
Well, she put herself in the perspective of the white person who might feel uncomfortable.
Right, she put it
with
out
Jesse
there.
Williams
Yeah,
there.
with how they would feel uncomfortable
Right.
about Black Lives
And then went
Matter
on to kinda
and
echo some of the
HBCUs.
same
Now,
sentiments.
where she kind of came off of left field with the
I have
HBCU
no
comment.
idea. Yeah, exactly.
But she, like she said, she was trying to come from
She
a
went
white
off the
perspective
track.
to
She
see
went
how
off the
white
track
people would
with
feel
that.
uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But then she jumped to tracks and said, I would feel, if there was a thing called historically white universities,
right.
I would feel offended.
There are.
And Yeah, exactly. And I'm gonna get to that. Exactly. They're called universities.
Yeah.
But see that's what Roland
And Roland Martin
got
jumped in her behind.
over that. That's what he's saying. Like, you know.
Yes, he properly put her in her
talking about
place.
the pastors. You don't hear people say the white pastors. They met with black pastors because when you talk about pastors, there are pastors.
They're pastors.
So you have to qualify to say black pastors. That's why, dude. Despite our conversations, I thought about when I heard that the whole spiel on the black colleges. I thought back to our show about the HBCUs, how we all talked about it early show,
early on,
in the build up days of the Build Destroy, when we was getting on our grind, and we had that great show about HBCUs. And one thing I will always go on and say is that I don't ever want to see HBCUs go anywhere.
No, they
no matter what I feel about how I want my son to go to college and all that, I don't ever want to see them go anywhere.
And then she also made comments about the NAACP.
Yeah, that was
and again, Roland Martin chin checked her again. Yeah. And she was like, he was like, the NAACP was organized not just by black people. There were just as many white people alongside of black people to organize the NAACP and have served as chairmen and leaders of the NAACP. There have been white people and black people. So he chin checked her. Which he should have done, because she spoke out of place. And I want to do this as a cheap thing to promote all of us. That's one of the reasons why Wendy got checked, because Wendy kind of jumped her lane. She's a gossip hound. She speaks about pop culture similar to the way we do, but she stays in her lane. One of the reasons why it's so important for us to talk about everything on this show is because we have more than one lane. And I'm proud of that. And I'm proud of that.
I love that.
We are sports heads. We are passionate music lovers, but we also read the Metro section and the front page. We stay informed, basically. So that gives us an ability to talk about everything.
I think
we're not always right, but we have comments. We have intelligent viewpoints on different subjects, and we should never pigeonhole ourselves. That's why this is called. Another reason why this is called Build and Destroy.
But I think the biggest detriment to her, not that she even spoke out of her lane. She spoke in bad times.
Bad times.
The timing, timing is everything.
She swam in shark-infested water with a pork chop vest on. You know what I mean?
Timing is everything.
I mean, dude, she got sponsors dropping.
Oh, Chevy dropped her like a bad coat.
Your profile and your level in this game is too high. You're making missteps like that. You gotta be more smart about that.
Chevrolet dropped her. They had just picked up a major deal with Chevrolet to promote the Chevy Malibu, like a viral campaign. A organic campaign where they talked about the car during the show, some visuals, and that and the other. They dropped it. One of the reasons why they got dropped by the woman that brokered that deal for Chevrolet was from an HBCU. She's an AKA. Wow. So she heard it firsthand. She was like, you know what? Bad business. I don't want to do business with her. If you're talking from that standpoint, my sister.
You know what? Then this deal's on the table. You gotta be careful who you alienate.
You don't know who you're talking to.
You sure don't.
You don't know who your audience.
And here's the thing about timing.
Here's
the thing about timing. If she maybe said it 2 weeks ago, it might have went like into the universe.
Into the table.
If she said it 2 months from now, depending on what happens, maybe. But again, the timing was just so bad.
Where everything is being measured.
It resounded so loud.
Yes, it did, Snoop. Yes, it did. Now, I have to defend Wendy just a little bit, because we know. Well, I'm just going to say from the standpoint, we are in a brotherhood or fraternity of talk show hosts. We do have a show now. So the only thing I will say in her defense is that she has to keep firing. You can't get gun shy with this. But you know the minute you blunt your thing with what you love, a silencer, you lose your effectiveness.
But she's made millions doing what she does.
Yes,
nobody checks her for the maybe quote unquote irresponsible comments she makes about celebrities.
Well, she's been checked many times.
I know, but the checking is done in the scope of her profession. That's what she does. So the people that check it out will disagree, but nobody took her to task for saying something about Beyonce or saying something about Justin Timberlake
She's
or
been
whatever.
taking the task
I've been
with
taking
it.
the task
Yeah.
with it, yes, but maybe
No.
counteracted, but nobody's kind of
Yeah,
like
counteracted
but
is that.
nobody's like
Well,
her livelihood hasn't been
She's a
questioned.
She's a shock jock.
Yeah, and that's what she does.
When
So
when you shock
Who's
jock,
more
when you
mainstream
shock
now?
jock about
Right.
stuff
just
we
a
don't
movie
speak
star
about, yo.
or a pop star is different
Well,
than society
Well,
itself.
let me say. Let
And
me,
the
let me,
ills
let me
of
say
society.
this.
Let me finish. But
Okay.
it's hard to come against the ills of society in a time when society is very ill. You know what I'm saying? It's like you got the freaking flu, like almost unto death, and you're like, you know, the flu ain't that bad. Just take some Dayquil and come on and go to work. Like that's not the time to make that statement to a person that has the flu. You're telling society right now, oh, just get up and move on. And if I was white, I mean, dude, if we could go back and forth on that, on her statement alone,
And her-
there's a balance right
And
there.
her ignorance,
But it's the
what she
timing is
inadvertently
just so
did
off.
was side as we just talked about the S9 comments of Rudy Giuliani and the other gentleman whose name I cannot get that was on CNN, and she put herself on that side inadvertently, and that's a bad side to be in
Right
as
now,
a black
yes,
woman
absolutely,
host
man.
in like
Who's
you
made
just
millions,
said,
who's
Mark,
made millions,
in this
man.
climate.
Right.
Like I said, she swam in shark-infested waters with a pork chop vest on.
And don't
they-
forget when you was blazing some hot waves on Hot 97, your listenership was like 80, 70, 60%.
And that's what I wanted to tell
African
you.
American. That's when you came up. And
Now you talk about
now
her
you
getting
want to
checked.
kill them.
She got ran the hell out of New York by Jay-Z and Puffy
Right, I understand
for
that,
making
I
all those
understand
gay
that,
comments
right,
about
I
that.
understand
So
that.
she's been checked before.
Yes,
she
yes.
had to hightail it to Philadelphia
Right,
for 3 or 4
right,
years
right. You're right,
until
you're right,
her
you're
until
right.
her brand got rebuilt,
Sure.
and she could come back to New York.
Right.
Jay-Z shut her down to the point where he was like, "Yo, dig this. I will buy the station and fire you."
Right.
How about that, Ma?
Yeah, but that's a
You know,
that's a blackball.
Yeah, they black. He
that's
made that's not a blackball.
But it was still-
that's
it
a
was
guided
still-
threat. That's a
Right,
guided
right.
threat.
But that's
So he ran. She's been checked before. Call it what you want,
that's
but she's been checked
in the
before.
industry blackball.
Yeah, but I'm saying, but she's been irresponsible. But
She always, that's her thing.
but like I said, the only thing I'm gonna say, and slightly in her defense, is that she's gotta keep. Not saying she's gotta keep saying dumb things, but when you're
I ain't
speaking
saying
from
you're right.
when
She
you're
should
speaking
not
from the hip,
compromise what she does.
yeah, you
She
can't
should
compromise
what she
your
does.
stance. You gotta hold your ground
But
to a
she
certain
doesn't.
extent.
She doesn't need to
Now-
retract the statement.
She's not.
She
She
just
wasn't gonna
needs-
retract. So what?
She
What?
needs to just take a moment of silence.
Well, what? Yeah, she
Like
needs.
Dougie Fresh
Well, what?
said.
What she did was, Roland Martin's coming on Thursday on the
Oh,
show.
good.
That's must
He
see
checked.
Martin.
Must see TV.
So,
Must see
And
TV.
that-
I
So
gotta
it's
take
a
so
couple
it's
extra
feeds
dollars in her pocket.
Of course, Mark.
That's
Of
must
course.
see TV.
Let's talk about what
Well,
Roland Martin said.
It's not that you're in her defense. You're giving advice for
Exactly.
the prolonging of her career.
You want to read that Roland Martin's comments?
Quote from Mr. Roland Martin.
Mm-hmm.
If you actually bother to read a book and not gossip magazines, you might know these things. Martin said on his TV One news program, Wendy, let me help you out. When you're on TV and have no idea what you're talking about, shut the hell up. Don't open your mouth. Don't embarrass yourself because you sound silly. The TV commentator's passionate response came after Williams, a daytime talk show host, addressed the controversy over Grey's Anatomy star Jesse Williams' speech at the BET Awards. His speech was very poignant, Williams said on her show. On the other hand, I would be really offended if there was a school that was known as a historically white college. We have historically black colleges. What if there was a national organization for white people only? There is the NAACP. That was a quote from Williams. Well, Wendy, there are historically white colleges.
She should know that. Man.
I mean,
She knows better.
That's like
She's too smart.
That's like third grade rationale. We know that, and that's
She
what
knows
offends us.
better.
That's the thing again. Going back to when I talked about that white lady who had the problem with the Black Family Day. Again,
Exactly. Another thing we talked
anybody
about
that
on the
thinks
show. Right.
will know the reason why we have HBCUs, the reason why we have BET, the reason why we have Miss Black America, everything, because historically we've never had those things, and we had
Those outlets
create our own
weren't
lane.
offered to us.
You think, please, even you can get people from the middle of Mid America to understand that.
Right.
It's not that hard to understand. So you may not necessarily agree with it, but people will understand. I see why. If you take the time to add 1 +